What's up guys, it's Tom here and I have a very exciting Liverpool transfer news video for you guys, because the English media and various media outlets are reporting that one of the reasons why Liverpool haven't made a big transfer this summer is that they are saving their money and waiting for a huge transfer to become available, huge transfer opportunity to become available next summer, and that is Borussia Dortmund's already superstar Jadon Sancho, who is just 19 years old, but it looks like one of the most exciting players in world football right now, and already he has 2 goals in 3 games for Borussia Dortmund this season. He started off his Bundesliga campaign with 1 goal and 1 assist in Dortmund's opening 5-1 victory against Augsburg. And let me know guys, do you think that Jadon Sancho would be worth the money to buy? I think he would be worth it. And do you think that Liverpool will be dropping an incredible transfer fee on Jadon Sancho? Dortmund have shown previously that if you offer a good amount of money for one of their players, then they are willing to sell any of their superstars. And actually, what is very interesting in this transfer story is that Jurgen Klopp is a huge fan of Jadon Sancho, and he actually wanted to buy Jadon Sancho from Manchester City, but Man City didn't want to sell to one of their English rivals, one of their Premier League rivals. This is what Jurgen Klopp himself said about, this transfer saga. Buying English players is a smart idea because we would never have a chance to get Sancho. We are not blind, we saw him, we liked him, and then we think, can we get him? No, because English clubs don't sell to other English clubs. I don't know exactly what the reason is for that, but they don't do it. And Jurgen Klopp himself has commented on Jadon Sancho after Liverpool played Dortmund in pre-season, and this is what Jurgen Klopp said, and I quote: "Jadon Sancho is an exceptional talent, but he's not the only one in England at that moment. That age group has a few. We have Ryan Brewster, who is the same age, Raheem Sterling, for example, and I don't want to forget any wingers because there are a lot of talents. Just my comment, Reece Nelson, who is now starting for Arsenal, is on another very exciting English winger playing in the Premier League. There's a lot of very young, promising players in England, so there's no doubt about the potential of Jadon Sancho." These are Jurgen Klopp's words here. And he continued, "Jadon Sancho's speed and body control in high speed is his main strength. Being good in big spaces and in small spaces makes you a pretty interesting player, and that's what Jadon is, for sure. But especially for his game against us, he's defended against our 18-year-old Yasser Larouci, who played against one of the biggest talents in world football and did pretty well the whole night. So no doubt about Jadon Sancho, he's an exceptional talent." So I think the fact that Jurgen Klopp specifically was talking about Jadon Sancho and basically talking him up and what a big talent he is, I think that's one eye on the future, because I think him publicly praising him in the media is a very good tactic, basically just putting a seed into Jadon Sancho's mind that Jurgen Klopp is a big fan of him. And you know that players like when a manager is saying good things, another manager is saying good things about him, not only in private but in public as well. That is maybe the seed put in Jadon Sancho's mind, that one day when Liverpool comes calling, Jadon Sancho will remember Jurgen Klopp praising him in the media and hyping him up to the English public. And maybe that's a tactic as well by Jurgen Klopp to actually try to soften Jadon Sancho a little bit and also to get him to move to Liverpool one day. And Jadon Sancho himself was part of the England squad that won the FIFA Under-17 World Cup alongside none other than Liverpool striker Ryan Brewster. And also Sancho is now in the full England squad, and others like Phil Foden, Callum Hudson-Odoi have made Premier League debuts. Ryan Brewster is still waiting for his Premier League debut because he got a 1-year injury basically, which set his development back. I really hope Brewster gets some minutes this season. And Jadon Sancho was talking about Ryan Brewster actually after the Liverpool-Dortmund game. This is what he said. I feel like Ryan Brewster can do it at Liverpool. I've played with him. I know how good he is. He causes defenders nightmares. He's a great player. I feel like he's at the right club. He's developing and he's still so young. He's developing well, and that is the main thing. Just give him the time and the patience and you will see. I played with him a lot for England. He scored a lot of goals for us and I have assisted him many times. It's a good thing for us to have someone like him. I knew the penalty was going in as soon as Ryan Brewster put the ball in his hands against us for Liverpool. I've seen him do it all the time. Top corner, no problem. I just knew what was coming. He spends time after training practicing and practicing his technique. I always used to see him out on the pitches, penalties, free kicks, he took them all. Playing for Dortmund, I couldn't say what was going to happen, but I knew he's very focused and all the time he's training lots. And we have got a special connection, you know. We went to the Euros and then we went to the World Cup. We message each other and tell each other to keep going, to keep believing. And I think it's a very good thing that Jadon Sancho has a personal connection with Ryan Brewster, because hopefully Brewster will play some games for Liverpool and he will maybe message Jadon Sancho next January transfer window or next summer. Come join us at Liverpool. You will have a lot of fun and you will challenge for trophies and you will win big trophies. And Jurgen Klopp was also asked whether German football is entering a period of decline, and this is what he said. There is no dip. 6 or 7 years ago you had all these young boys coming up: Marco Reus, Andres Schürrle, Mario Götze, Thomas Müller, Mats Hummels, and it was clear when they became under 21 European champions it would be a generation of proper quality, and they ended up winning the World Cup. England now has that situation. It is like a wave with one country a little bit up, another country a little bit down, and now the English players, they can go to Germany, which is a wonderful league. I saw the Dortmund game against Tottenham in the Champions League and it was a completely open game. I don't see German football in the bad situation. It is a normal situation as well, a bit like Bayern. They have been unbelievably successful and now the next generation has to come up. That will happen again. The Bundesliga is a fantastic league and everything will be fine for them. But at the moment I am in the Premier League and I'm more interested in what we have to do here. And Sancho at the moment is rated at about 70 or 80 million pounds, and actually Jurgen Klopp himself admitting that they wanted to buy Jadon Sancho at Liverpool, but Manchester City basically refused to sell them Jadon Sancho. What a bargain it would have been, because Borussia Dortmund just had to pay 8 million pounds for Jadon Sancho. Can you imagine? What an absolute bargain. One of the biggest bargains in world football, because Jadon Sancho will comfortably go for 70-80 million pounds next summer, or maybe even more if he decides to leave Borussia Dortmund. And I think that Jadon Sancho wants to come back one day in the Premier League because he's English and he surely wants to show his home country, his home nation, what he's made of and what he can do in the Premier League. He's already a very exciting electric winger who can have a brilliant career, and I want Liverpool to be that club that Jadon Sancho comes back to as a Premier League player. I really want that to happen. Let me know. Am I in dreamland, or do you think that Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool will make it happen? And Jadon Sancho himself has talked about why he decided to leave Manchester City, even though he had a verbal agreement actually on a new contract with the club. This is what he said in an interview. Moving away from home was the biggest challenge, leaving my mom and my sisters behind. I miss them a lot, but I wanted to do what was best for me and my career, and that was what I did. It was very tough, especially missing my mom, but if you really believe in yourself, you have to do what's best for you. I'm now with my dad in Germany in an apartment. Now, not everyone is comfortable moving away from home. If you are ready to play abroad and you believe in yourself, why not? And even the fact that he mentions that he's missing his family here indicates that one day, maybe even in a few seasons, he wants to move back to the Premier League. But I think the club that can get Jadon Sancho back to the Premier League will be a club that can offer him regular playing time. But I'm sure that Jurgen Klopp can convince Jadon Sancho to come to Liverpool and play regularly. But the big question is, would we sell Mane or Salah to accommodate Jadon Sancho or even Firmino, who is one of our most important players? I'm not sure, I don't think so. And at the moment, Liverpool have such a settled front line and they are in the prime of their careers, so they won't leave Liverpool in the next 2 or 3 seasons because of aging or a dip in form. I'm not sure where Liverpool can fit Jadon Sancho into their team, and that could be a problem. But Jurgen Klopp also could change our formation. We could go with 2 defensive midfielders and 4 attackers and really attack most of the Premier League teams. But I'm not sure that all of the players would be comfortable with that. But we could try out a formation in basically against the bottom 10 teams where Fabinho and Henderson plays in the holding role, and we will play Jadon Sancho, Firmino and Mane behind Mohamed Salah. That could happen. Mane can play as a striker, and then Salah can play on the wing, Jadon Sancho on the other wing, and Firmino behind them. So there are a lot of possibilities in my opinion, and Sancho is now 19 years old, one of the Europe's most exciting young talents, and I will be very, very surprised if one of the big clubs don't come in for Jadon Sancho. Then next summer, one of the big clubs in the Premier League, Liverpool, lift the Champions League, lift the European Super Cup. Hopefully we will lift the Club World Cup and maybe another 1 or 2 trophies this season if we can be consistent. Who knows, maybe we can win the Premier League as well. I mean, Man City just drew against Tottenham. What an incredible drama that was. I just have to talk about that game because I got so emotional watching it. It was actually deja vu, just like Guardiola said. It was the exact same thing happened after the Champions League. Like, who would have predicted this to happen? That the exact same 2 teams have the exact same scenario. Man City score a winner in stoppage time, and instead of Sterling, of course, this time it was Gabriel Jesus, but the full stadium, the Guardiola, the players, the fans, everybody was celebrating, hugging each other, winning a big game like this against Tottenham in the 92nd minute. It was a huge goal, and then it was ruled out because of the new rules that if the ball touches a player's hand in the box, an attacker's hand, even if it is accidental, you cannot score after that a legitimate goal. Any goal will be ruled out, and we already had 2 cases like this in the Leicester Wolves game. I think Bowley handballed it, and Wolves scored after that, and it was ruled out, and that changed the result. It ended up in a 0-0 draw. This changed the result as well, and I find the rule a little bit harsh and inconsistent, because if an attacker does that, it's a goal disallowed, but if a defender gets his hand in the way and it is accidental, the attacking team doesn't get a penalty. So where's the equality? Where's the consistency? If the ball hits an attacker's hand in the box, it's ruled out if after that a goal is in the net. If the ball hits a defender's hand accidentally in the box, it's not a penalty. What? Like, why is that? Why is this a new rule, and who made this new rule? I'm not sure how the Premier League implements new rules. I'm sure there is a vetting process and the experts sit down, but were the players asked? Were the managers asked? I feel there should be more dialogue between the players and the managers and the Premier League and whoever makes these big decisions, because it influences every single one of the players, every single club, every single manager, and I think there should be some kind of voting process or vetting process for big things like this. And I'm sure that everybody agrees that VAR overall is a good thing. It's a success because we are getting a lot of right decisions. And I'm not debating that VAR is brilliant for the Premier League. I'm debating whether the actual handball rule is correct or not, the new handball rule. That so I'm not sure I can explain completely accurately what I want to say here. What I want to say is that either make it consistent that both, if you are an attacker or a defender, if the ball hits your hand, either you should give a foul to the other team, or you should just, if it's accidental, just keep it as last season. If it's accidental, you should rule it out. And yes, it was difficult. It was a gray area, because how can you properly 100% determine whether a handball was accidental or not? So I think the new rule makes sense in that area, but it doesn't make sense if a defensive team gets hit on the hand accidentally, then it's not a penalty. So I think that should be also changed. It should be a penalty if an accidental handball happens at a defensive team, at a defensive player. James Milner also commented on Ryan Brewster. This is what he said. Ryan is obviously probably more outgoing and has got more confidence than I had when I was his age, 19 years old. I think I had an inner belief and a quiet belief in myself, whereas Ryan lets everyone know, and that is fine as long as you are learning and you have that arrogance on the pitch, which he does. If he wasn't as grounded as he is, that could be a problem, but the good thing is he is, and he has got hunger. If he doesn't have that and maybe wobbles for 1 second, he has got plenty of senior players around him that will give him a kick up the arse. To come in and score goals in pre-season is great, and it has given him a lift, but now it is the start of it. There is going to be a lot of hard work, there is a lot of games, and for me, he just has to learn as much as he can. He's got a great squad around him. He has learned off the manager. He needs to take everything in every day. Every day is an opportunity to prove himself and improve again. There's not many better strikers in the world to learn from than Bobby Firmino, and how he does the defensive job and he runs the runs he makes. He is a different player to Bobby, and he still has to do the job that Bobby does, to set the press off and to be in the position to block the number 6. It is going to take a lot of time to get as near as good as Bobby, but you don't want him to lose the goal scoring side. I don't think he will. Very good compliments by James Milner on Ryan Brewster, and that's very, very good to hear. And also I was so happy that Liverpool actually equaled their club record of 11 Premier League wins in a row. And yes, it stretches towards 2 seasons, because at the end of last season we won 9 games in a row and now we have 2 games in a row. But I think the biggest test will come against Arsenal. They look like a new look, changed Arsenal. And not since 10 years ago have Arsenal won their opening 2 Premier League fixtures. So I think they will be high on confidence. And Liverpool can beat the club record. If they beat Arsenal, they can get 12 Premier League wins in a row, and that has never happened in Liverpool's history. And even though we have beaten Arsenal 5-1 and 4-0 in the previous 2 Anfield games in the Premier League, I think this game will be much closer, because Liverpool defensively look a lot more vulnerable. Not just because of Alisson being injured, and Adrian, our second choice goalkeeper, obviously is not as good as Alisson, and he already made a mistake, but I thought Jurgen Klopp played it down very well in the media, saying that that's just Liverpool goalkeepers and what they do recently. In recent years, they make a big mistake early on in their career, and then they go on to have very successful careers. I think Liverpool defensively are just a little bit shaky, vulnerable. We are not up to the standards of last season, but I think that will come with more games and more concentration. But I think that will be a huge game, Liverpool-Arsenal. Really looking forward to it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.